Dr. Gottlieb, good to see you again this morning. What do you think of the Moderna news?
Look, this is a great result. We now have interim data on 2 vaccines showing that they're both highly effective. If these full data sets hold when the full data comes out, we may have 2 highly effective vaccines against COVID. And I think what it means is that once we get these vaccines in sufficient quantities heading into 2021, the combination of the fact that, a lot of the population will have already had COVID, combined with the fact that we'll be vaccinating the public with a highly effective vaccine, we could effectively end this pandemic in 2021 with our technology. You have to presume at these levels of efficacy that we're seeing from these vaccines, the vaccines aren't just reducing signs and symptoms of COVID disease, but they're actually probably preventing some people from getting infected, or maybe preventing people or reducing the likelihood of people shed the virus. That's going to be an important thing to look at in the full data sets. And Joe kind of got at that question when he was asking about how you tell whether people were infected or not in these clinical trials. But if we do demonstrate that these vaccines actually reduce the rate of infection, these become very important public health tools for preventing transmission. And so hopefully the data will show that. You have to believe that it will based on these levels of efficacy. But obviously we need to see the full data sets.
Meaning, though, that if people go out and get this vaccine, they'll not only not get it themselves, they won't be spreading it to other people, they won't be shedding virus. So even people who can't get the vaccine yet would be protected.
Right. What we've seen in the non-human primate studies with these vaccines is that they created what we call non-sterilizing mucosal immunity. So the monkeys in the studies still got infected in some cases, but when they got infected, they were less likely to shed the virus because they effectively had immune cells at the site of the tissue, their respiratory tissue, where the disease would manifest itself, but also where they would be shedding the virus. And so if, in fact, in humans, we see the same thing, that people either are less likely to get infected or if they get infected, they're less likely to shed the virus. And the vaccines have become very important tools for preventing transmission. So they don't just prevent you from getting symptomatic disease, they also prevent you from spreading the infection. That's what we hope for. We'll be looking for that in these trials. That's what regulators are going to be looking at. Now, the vaccines don't need to do that to win approval. I think if the vaccines just prevented people from developing symptomatic disease, that would be really a home run. But if, in fact, there is the likelihood that someone gets infected in the first place or reduce the likelihood that people who get infected shed the virus, that's going to be an additional benefit and a substantial benefit. At these levels of efficacy, my hunch is that they are doing that. They are preventing some people from getting infected, but we won't know till we know, and that's going to be when we get the full data sets. But this is a great result today. We have 2 highly effective vaccines, or at least what appears to be highly effective vaccines, based on these very robust interim results. And so if this holds and the full data sets confirm this, we're going to have 2 really good products on the market.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.